Hey guys, so we're back again working out of the Weights Industries workshop. We've got our E46 race car here, which is the first time having it on the channel, but we'll be doing a fair bit of content with this in the coming weeks, so thought we'd do a walkthrough of what it is, what's being done, its purpose, and I guess where it'll be going. Yeah, so I guess we'll start by just taking you through the whole car.
Do a walkthrough.
Yep. So this is our E46. I bought it probably about a year ago now off Nick, who owns Weights Industries. I'd already bought two other Estral Blue E46 sedans, but they were both kind of in rougher shape. Nick had bought this car planning to fix it and put it back on the street, but it got to the point where it was going to be too much, so we're going to part it out. So we ended up doing a deal where I ended up purchasing the car off Nick. So it is a BMW 325 body in Estral Blue, so individual colour. It's been wrapped, as you can see, which was designed by a guy up in Albany in Auckland who's called Pixelsaurus. Obviously you can see the wrap is quite in your face and I like it personally. The car obviously doesn't have a 2.5 M54 on it anymore. It is a 2.2, which is to fit the E46 Spec series that we have here in New Zealand. It is as built by the Spec series, so yeah, I'll run through the car section by section. So for the body, it is stock motorsport body, which is how we have to keep them. The only difference is I have a set of AC Schnitzer wing mirrors. Don't have to run those in the series, but in my opinion, the factory mirrors look terrible. So I definitely was worth investing in those, especially considering their price tag. As far as body work goes, that's about it. There's nothing out of the ordinary for it, really. Wheels, these are some BBS RGs, forged wheels. We run on these and also a set of Koya SF02s, all running the Dunlop semi-slick, which we have to run. So they're 17x8s. The brakes are off a 325, 328 for the fronts, which is easy for us because that's what the car was originally. People starting with the 318 chassis would obviously have to upgrade to the bigger brakes, which we're allowed to run. Guess we'll have a quick look at the interior. So the cage, the roll cage, the car is already roll cage, sorry, tripping up there. It's a TIG welded cage done by RA Fabrication, Rolling Injection, up in Silverdale in Auckland. He did the foot plate and the cage and a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces throughout the car, which while it was getting fabricated. Sparco steering wheel and hub adapter and Racetech seats. And then also we've just got a knacker duck in this rear window to allow, when we're moving, to push fresh air into the cabinet because it gets quite hot. All the windows are plastic, except for the front and rear windshield. They're still glass. Door cards I made myself. They're just some plastic that has been molded with a bit of heat and a press brake. E46 M3 cluster. Again, not something that you have to run in our series, but it is something I wanted to run. I like the warm-up lights that they have on them, and I can also use them as shift lights, and it has the factory oil temp gauge as well. Harnesses are Sparcos, which I originally bought for my other E30, which we haven't introduced to the channel yet, but this car got built first, even though I've had it for a way less amount of time. The seat brackets are Caneberry Motorsport brackets. So they're also going to be available on the website. Nothing on the other side, the car cover sitting in seat at the moment. And the whole cage was, the whole interior end cage was painted Porsche grey black. So looking into the back area of the car, we've got the knacker duck hoses coming in. Drop those down. And the driver's seat has one of the Racetech mounts on the back of the seat, which is just to connect the back of the seat to the cage, which stops it moving around as much and just gives a bit more feel in the back of the seat as well. As for fuel pumps, we're running the factory fuel pump on the driver's side, but on the passenger side, we've removed the factory sender unit and put in an E36 white top fuel pump, which just pumps fuel from the passenger side over to the driver's side, which helps us with surge issues on the racetrack. So moving back into the boot. Nothing special in here. Everything's just been sanded back and painted just to have a clean look. And instead of running a strut brace, Colin made a nice little bracket which holds the back of the cage and a bar going across as well. The exhaust we'll have a look at when we get it up on the hoist in a minute, but that was made by Quest Fabrication, and I'll touch more on that in a minute. And I guess we can open it up and have a look at the engine.
While Luke opens up the engine, I just wanted to touch up on how nicely the contrast of the actual color of the car and the wrap comes into the back here and gets a little bit more aggressive with the black and the red. It's a really, really cool design.
So as for the engine, as mentioned before, it's an M54B22. I've got it out of a Z3, again off Nick Waits, as you can see by the signage on the car here is one of the main sponsors. Low Ks, had 120,000 Ks on it. It's been running quite well. The car's been on the track once before and we'll be going to the track again in about 6 weeks. Apart from that, the engine is stock standard. So we're running an oil cooler, which I designed alongside with Kane Barry Motorsport, and they're available on the website. So that uses factory fan shroud mounts to hold the oil cooler up against the radiator, and then just using a PMC hat. It's got a K&N cold air box, if you will, and it's also running the K&N upper intake hose, but we've got to change that back to the factory one to be within the regulations. For suspension, we're running Fortune Auto coilovers, true coilovers front and rear. And underneath the car there is also PMC rear camber arms, which we'll have a look when we get it up in the air. But as you can see, the idea is simplicity with this whole series. Nothing is over the top. There's no way for people to go and open up the engine and do anything too different to each other. It's all about making an even playing field for everyone, so that someone can't just go along and throw a shit ton of money at it and beat everyone. So we're all on the same boat. So put her up in the air.
Yeah, chuck it up.
So as now we can see the exhaust, we've got some M52 headers which we're allowed to run because the E46 standard ones would have cats in them, so we're allowed to run those. And then that just takes some standard M52 downpipes where we make our merge into stainless, and then we run stainless the whole way through, which makes it sound quite nice. With the only resonator in the whole car is one Adrenaline R resonator using the factory E46 mount. As mentioned before, we can see some PMC camber arms, and then obviously the bottom of our coilovers. And then we've got some braided brake lines all round, and also a braided clutch line. You are able to choose between what gearbox you're going to run, whether it be a Getrag or a ZF. We went with a ZF, mainly because we don't like changing gearboxes, so do it once, do it right. Put the best gearbox in. Apart from that, that's about all she has. Some pork pads, some factory rotors, and that's about it. Nothing too special.
Maybe just shine the light up for the coilover. There you go. It is there.
Cool, so that's it for the Skunkworks race car. That was a nice quick run through of basically what's already been done and a prep for the race series that are going to be coming up on this channel. The next you'll probably see of it is us dropping the rear subframe out and prepping it for powder coating and new bushings, and then that's going to go back in ready for the shakedown on the 20th of August. Awesome. Yeah, sweet, that's us for today. We'll sign out here and see you guys next time.
Sweet.